Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Tuesday. Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I know that you are tuning in from all over the place. You're going to be watching it. Listen, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to get used to this Tuesday thing, right? Because we've been doing Thursday for, almost 2 years. Y'all, April, it'll be 2 years. So, what's that? I mean, that's like, we are a year, almost 9 months that we were doing Thursday, and now we switched it to Tuesday. But I'm happy that you are joining along with us. And so please put in the chat box where you are watching from, what is going on, tell us something good, all that good stuff, because the Real Money Coach is on the air, live, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. So now, listen, I really want to talk about something tonight. We're going to talk about something that's kind of near and dear even to my heart, something that I just kind of been talking about for years. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because it is, of course, Christmas season. And there's a lot of different stories out there about whether or not, shopping was up or down. So from what I'm understanding in the statistics that I've been reading, that on Black Friday, y'all didn't go out to the stores like you did pre-COVID. And I understand that, right? They said that it was down quite a bit in terms of in-store shopping, but y'all was online buying up some stuff much more than last year. And so I want to give a shout out to Ruth Bell and Dr. Bonita Harris. Glad to have you here. Listen, Dr. Bonita and Ruth Bell, we're going to get you on the other side of the camera, right? So when you see that missed call from me today, that's what I was going to talk to you about, getting you on the other side of the camera, that you guys could be honored guest of ours one of these Tuesday evenings so that everybody can see you and we can just honor you as being one of the faithful people that have been with us ever since the beginning. So we're going to be doing more of that. We're going to be doing more of our audience, people who've been following and watching us over the years or year. Yeah, I guess years. I could say years, almost two. We want to honor you by bringing you onto the show and letting you share with your peers from this side of the camera. So I'm glad to have you guys with us tonight. We're glad just to be here. I mean, there's so much going on, so many different things I'm, hearing, people losing loved ones and that type of thing. And that's always tough this time of year when that happens. So we're just glad that you're here. Listen, you guys all know I'm a big Michigan fan. There he is, right on cue, Chad. Right on cue, my brother. Right on cue. Listen, and so, Alice Martin is here, right? Alice said, I can't believe it's almost Christmas. And she said, yes, I'm shopping online. I'm not getting out in all that. All right. And Alice, you're another one that we want to bring on to our show and just kind of highlight some very special people that have been around. Even if you're not the guest for the whole show, we just want to bring you on and just let you say hello to the people. So Alice, you're another one that we'd love to do that. But as I was saying, my boy Chad, he is a big U of M fan like myself. And we finally got over the hump. We beat Ohio State a couple weeks ago. Big Ten championship, Big Ten champs, right? Because we went in there and we put a whooping on Iowa and all that good stuff. So Chad and I wasn't saying too much, Chad, before. I was just taking it easy. I wasn't saying too much. But now I'm just letting it out, right? Go blue, right? So we're really proud of them. And I think that when we look at the Michigan team, there's a story in that, right? So and so the story is really they were unranked at the beginning of the season. They were unranked. They weren't in the top 25 at all. They are expected to finish like fourth in their division of the Big Ten, not even the whole league. And how they came from that to now being ranked number 2 in the country and a lot of people felt like they should have really been ranked number one. But that's a story of perseverance. And, I wonder, how are you persevering? How did this year start versus how is it ending? Sometimes, we got to finish strong, right? And sometimes we start off fast, we get those lows in the middle of the year and things get tough and kind of heavy and kind of, the burden is heavy, right? But my yoke is light. I want to just say that. And so, how are you doing? How are you doing? Even saw in the news today how stress, even in our children and our teenagers, is all-time high. But how are you handling all this? Do you have an outlet? Do you have someone to talk to? What are you doing to get through? So those are all very important things. And what I am going to do at this point is bring on my co-host, Mrs. Michelle Mitchell from Kalamazoo, Michigan. All right.
Good evening, Tony.
Good
Good evening.
How you doing? How you
I'm
doing?
doing good. Doing good.
Good, good. Look, Chad said dedication and believe what you're doing.
That's right.
Michelle, belief, what part does it play in our success? Whether we're talking about life, we're talking about business, what belief?
Yeah, belief is like the catalyst to you actually accomplishing what you want. First, you got to believe it. First you got to envision it, and then
Okay.
once you have the vision for it, you got to believe it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta
that's with anything.
you got to trust your eyes. You got to
Yeah.
trust your vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if God's giving you a vision of something, you have to trust that vision.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, even when no one else believes in it, you have to
Mm-hmm.
believe in it. And
Yeah.
I think I've told that to a lot of young people before, even our children, is like, you can't wait for someone to co-sign your vision.
Right. You can't.
Right? Because even if someone comes and they co-signs your vision, oh yeah, I see it. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I believe it. They will never have the same, I guess, intensity, the same sharpness, the same
Passion.
passion. There you go,
Yeah.
as you will for it.
Yeah.
So stop waiting for everybody to co-sign. Stop waiting for likes on social media. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's a vision that God's given you, then you need to just go for it,
Yep.
right? You need to go for it. You
Absolutely.
need to believe in yourself. And so I
Yeah.
think that's
I
a
would just
great.
like to say, like, maybe it's not belief, but the Detroit Lions, when they had a purpose for what they were doing, they freaking won a game.
They won one game, Michelle.
I understand that, but they had a purpose in that game. Before, like, their passion, sometimes you have to renew your passion. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying? So,
So
and renew your belief.
was there a
So
special purpose for that game?
yeah, it
It
was a
was.
special purpose for that game because of the shooting in
Ah,
Oakland.
I was wondering where you were
Yeah,
going with that. Okay,
yes,
because of the shooting that took place
right.
in Oxford.
Oxford, right. Mm-hmm.
Oxford,
Yep.
which
So
for
they
those
put
of
the
you,
O on their jerseys, and they went out there to play with a purpose, which ignited
mm,
the passion and the belief that they could.
mm, I didn't even watch the Lions game, so I didn't even
Of course, no
know.
one did.
I can't remember where we were, but we didn't watch much NFL this weekend.
Yeah.
But that's good. And
Hmm.
when you think about what happened at Oxford High
Hmm.
School, and the fact that they took that and they said we're gonna use that as a
Hmm.
passion, as
Hmm.
fueling for the purpose of winning this game with the
Yeah.
O and all that. That's a great story. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Because it
you mentioned that.
reignites belief. Like,
Mm.
they're all good. They made it to the NFL, right? So you got to be good.
Right. I mean, nobody gets in the NFL that's a
Right.
chump, right?
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, this is not little league where everybody plays.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right.
So even if people have come to the end of the year, and they set out with goals that they wanted and they somewhere in the middle, they lost their passion for it. So
Mm.
something has to reignite the belief that that's what you still want, and then you can accomplish it again, because that's usually what happens to people.
Well, and if anybody's ever experienced this in the chat box, I've experienced this
Mhm.
where I wanted to do something. I had this goal that
Mhm.
I'm going to accomplish a certain thing,
Mhm.
right? And I'm drudging along, just
Mhm.
kind of getting into the routine,
Mhm.
and then someone comes along and tells me I can't do it, and I'm like, "What? You said I can't do it?" And that ignites me to want to do it even more.
Right.
And sometimes controversy,
Mhm.
sometimes pain,
Mhm.
sometimes those types of things will ignite us to say, I am going to do it and I am
Yeah.
determined.
Yes.
And then we can go for it.
Mhm.
And I can't help but really think about, even how scripture encourages us, and even when we're perplexed and it seems like
Mhm.
everything is falling down around us, but yet our inward man is renewed day by day. you know
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite scriptures, and another is Isaiah. Those who wait on the Lord
Mhm.
shall renew their strength and
Right.
shall fly with eagles.
Yeah.
Even though the youth get weary and faint and all that it talks
Mhm.
about there, but it says that if you wait, that you'll mount on wings of eagles.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it has to deal us in a situation where we got nowhere to go.
Right.
We got
Yeah.
nowhere to go. I got no one to turn to but God.
Mhm.
Um, it's just me, the
Yeah.
Lord, in
Yeah.
whatever goal that He's placed in me, right?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
placed on, and now we got to go for it. So, and we
Mhm.
talked a lot about goals last week. We
Yeah.
talked a lot
We did.
about goals
Mhm.
last week. And just for everyone listening, just make sure you tune in next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a CPA on the farm, on the show. Valerie Rhodes is her name. She's part of our team, and she's going to talk about the things that we need to be doing preparing for tax season.
Right.
Because whether you want to believe it or not,
It's
today
coming.
is December 7th, which means that we are basically about 3 weeks from
Mhm.
January. And before you know it, it's time to do the taxes.
Mhm.
Speaking of December 7th, this is also a significant day because it's
Mhm.
the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And I was watching some of that on the news today. They had 4 or 5 people that were survivors of that Pearl Harbor attack.
Mhm.
And, just what a horrific attack on our country. And, again, that's one of those things because of
Mhm.
the controversy. And now we're in the war. So,
Right.
and you had a little look on your face. I wonder what was that thought, Michelle? You had a little look on your face, and I think I may know what it is, but I'm not sure because I have the same thought. I just haven't said it yet. So tell me what
Right.
the little look was.
Well, I got to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is one of the things that when I look at that. And I think about my dad, and he was in the
Mhm.
military. He was part of World War II. And I think about how so many African American soldiers have given their life for our country, but didn't get the same hero welcome,
Right.
didn't get the same, thank you for serving. I can remember my dad talking about how they were treated better in Europe than they were when they got home,
Mhm.
and some of these type of things. And I kind of had a feeling that thought crossed your mind as we were talking about that. I may be wrong, or do I really know you that well?
You kinda know me that well because, I was feeling the same thing 'cause, I heard on the news today, we honored the veterans a few weeks ago on the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a couple months ago, we had somebody on the show talking about real estate and the GI Bill.
Yes. Yep. We had Randy.
Yep.
Yep, Randy was on
And
talking about
so
it. Yep.
today I heard there's a new uh, legislation bill being written for um, veterans of color who did not receive the GI Bill.
Really?
Yes. And they're just now writing it and getting sponsors for this bill. And my first thought was, okay, most of them are dead. So, like, what is, I don't understand. I
Well,
don't
is it going to
understand.
extend to their family? Can I get some GI money for my dad
So
who
in this
served?
bill, so
Right?
I don't know the number of what this bill is, or this, maybe it's a proposal pre-bill. You know how it is. You have to get sponsors,
And it's got to
to
go through the
support,
committees and all
right,
that.
to support the bill. But what they're writing in this bill is for African Americans who were not able to partake in the GI Bill um, structure for real estate, helping
Mm,
them buy their first homes. And it's going, if if the veteran is no longer alive, it will go to their descendants.
really?
Yes, the reparation will go to their descendants. And because at first when I heard, I'm like, why are you gonna write this bill? And most of these people are no longer with us. So what's the point? And
Right.
then he started talking about it going down to their descendants. So
Okay.
this would be an interesting one to keep tabs of, um,
That would
and
be
see how
very
far it gets. Hmm.
That would be very interesting. It would be
Hmm.
really good to bring someone because Randy talked about it.
Yes.
Randy Miller, when he was
Hmm.
on, and we had Sherry Likes on.
Yep.
And I remember one of the
And
statements that Randy said is, "You better get all you can
all
out of the army because they're gonna get all they can out of you." I
exactly. Yeah.
remember that statement that he
Mhm.
made, and that
Mhm.
was a very profound statement. And it'd be interesting is that if you have not taken advantage of, if your family or your vet did not, because I think about VA loans and
Mhm.
how
Right.
good VA loans, and if your family has not taken advantage of that, then that would be a pretty awesome thing.
It would be. I thought it was quite interesting when I heard that. And at first it kind of like, okay, how could they benefit from it? Because this is generational, right? And
Right.
remember the guy we had on talking about real estate and redlining?
Yes. Yeah.
All of that was in the same era,
Right.
right?
So the
So
red
how
liner,
do
you,
you
you get
fix that?
out, you
Mhm.
get out your GI,
Yep.
right? But you if
You
you're a black GI, you
Yeah.
now are in this redlining and all this
Mhm.
stuff that's going on. And so
Yeah, and you can't get a loan because of the redlining in the loan application, and all of that. So this is
yeah.
going to be quite interesting to see how far it gets.
Well, and then, like you said, what kind of bipartisan support is
Mhm.
going to get? How
Exactly.
those type of things? Because whenever you start talking reparations,
Mhm.
um,
He
it,
didn't say that word.
he didn't say it. He didn't
He
say
didn't
it.
say it, but basically that's what it is.
Yeah. But whenever you start talking to things or you start to skate that line, now
Mhm.
you run into opposition
Right.
because they feel like, well, that was a long time ago. It doesn't
Mhm.
have any impact now. But
Yep.
one of the things that was on the iHeartRadio show this week, y'all, at Friday at 5 p.m. iHeartRadio, WDRB Media, the voice of the community. I had an interview. I played an interview that we had with Boyce Watkins. Many of you didn't
Mhm.
see that because it wasn't on a Thursday night. It was a separate event that we had. Um, and so many people didn't see it. So make sure you tune in and listen to it. But he's talked about that slavery thing did a number on us, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And it's like when you're moving in one direction, it's hard to steer that back,
Right.
and you're dealing with those things that have really gotten us behind. And
Right.
then so you have this widening of racial disparity.
Mhm.
I think gender disparity is another
Mhm.
one.
Mhm.
All those things are in there, and it takes a lot to start to reverse that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to reverse that.
Mhm.
And this is the thing, that I don't know if I mentioned this on this show or not, but I was listening to it may have been actually when Tommy was on, but I was listening to this sermon by Martin Luther King, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking about how civil rights didn't cost America anything.
Mhm.
It costs you nothing to say that black folks and white folks can use the same toilet.
Right.
That actually, that probably saved you money because now you only need one toilet, right?
Right.
So, so it didn't cost you anything.
Mhm.
Voting rights really didn't cost you anything.
Mhm.
Some of these things that we talk about in terms of civil rights really didn't cost America anything.
Mhm.
But when we start talking about economic equality, when we
Mhm.
start talking about leveling the job playing field, equal pay for equal day, right?
Mhm.
And so when we start talking about that, we're going to make sure that female salaries match their male counterparts. When
Mhm.
we start talking about brown and black people's salaries are going to match their white counterparts. When we
Mhm.
start talking about those things, now that costs money.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
now it becomes a different conversation
Mhm.
because it's actually going to cost America something to right some of these wrongs.
Right.
Now, I can say I'm sorry all day long, but if I don't repent and correct and try to
Right.
repair some of the damages that have taken place, then, it's like, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you still lagging behind in every
Yep.
economic statistical measurement that we do, but get over it. Right, that's basically
Yeah.
what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, get over it.
Mhm.
But we're saying that there needs to be a monetary um, there needs to be a monetary part of that. And
Yes,
so,
I agree.
because believe me, they profited off of our free labor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
For years. So
Yes.
interesting conversation.
But maybe, this issue with veterans, because most people support veterans, like
Mhm.
the United States supports veterans for the most part. So maybe this might have some meat to it.
Yeah, maybe this is
Mhm.
something that will be that will happen.
Mhm.
That and speaking of our reparations, there's one city here in Charlotte, or not in Charlotte, but in North Carolina, that actually voted for reparations for Black people,
Oh,
and
really?
it's Asheville, North
Okay.
Carolina. They voted for reparations. Now I don't know what that means.
Mm.
They talked about infrastructure, making
Mhm.
loans available where they weren't before, and those type of things. So we'll see what really happens. And sometimes I think, like you were saying, is we put a band-aid on it and we say,
Mhm.
well, but it's really not a fix. It's
Right.
really
Yeah.
just more of the same. So
Right.
interesting. If you guys have any thoughts about it, put it in the chat box. Let us know. Talk to us. Talk back
Yeah.
to us. We're sitting here having a great conversation, and would love to get your feedback. Um, and I know that there's probably some people out there listening that are veterans, or maybe even a spouse of a veteran. What are your thoughts about them doing something legislatively to correct some of that? So um, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It would be. Mhm. Yep.
So, so one of the things I wanted to address, and I talked about this on Friday on the show, is it's Christmas time, Michelle.
Mhm.
But before we get into that, I want to get into this other topic: Bitcoin, right? Cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Um, the big news last week is Odell Beckham Jr.
Mhm.
Um, it said that he was going to take the remainder of his salary in Bitcoin
Ooh.
this year. and that if you, I think it was Instagram or maybe Twitter or something, if you tweet it, he would give you Bitcoin. He's going to give $1 million away in Bitcoin.
Really?
If you send him your Cash App, he's going to give you some Bitcoin.
Okay.
$1 million.
Did you do it?
I don't have Cash App.
Oh, okay.
There's no Cash App. So, and my understanding is that there's 25 that most people who are doing that are receiving $25 in Bitcoin from him.
Okay.
$25. What equivalent is that? Let's see. Check out the link sent. Okay. Did you put the link in the chat, or did you email it? How'd you send it, Timothy? That let me know. So here's the interesting thing is he did that, but he's not the first, right? So what's his name? Aaron Rodgers for Green Bay. He did it about a month ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, in November. Yes, it was November that he gave all this money away through Bitcoin. And I think his people received anywhere from $40 to $100 in Bitcoin. But the interesting thing is right here in Charlotte, the first player that asked for their contract to be played in Bitcoin plays for the Charlotte Panthers.
Really?
Here's the interesting thing as I researched it, and talk a little bit about this on Friday, is he got his base salary, because their salary is a base and then they have these incentives.
Yes.
His base was $6.5 million. He received that in Bitcoin in December 2019.
Okay.
So December 2019, he received $6.5 million, $6.5 million in Bitcoin.
Okay.
Okay. Today, based on the increase in Bitcoin between December of 2019 so it's a year later, right?
Okay. And 2020?
Yeah. So it was December of 2020.
Okay.
December of 2020. So a year ago. How much is his 6.5 salary? What do you think it's grown to?
Oh boy. I know Bitcoin is growing, but it dipped for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it went down. Yeah.
It went down. So 6 million, 12?
You're close. $10.8 million.
Oh.
Making him now one in his position, one of the highest paid athletes.
Wow.
Because his money just putting it into Bitcoin almost doubled. It went up 67%.
Wow.
Between the time he received that payment in December of 2020 and then today.
Interesting.
So it's interesting that now Trevor Lawrence, who was the number one pick in the draft, that made news because he requested that his whole signing bonus be paid in crypto. And he got a $25 million signing bonus. And it was all paid in crypto.
I mean, because of what I do, I just had a client transfer funds to purchase Bitcoin to hold as an asset in the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what we're going to do as far as the Real Money Coach is we're going to dedicate a lot of January into learning about Bitcoin. So we're going to have some Bitcoin experts come on and we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency. Because Bitcoin is just the most popular one. There's 2,000 different cryptocurrencies out there. And so we're going to actually, because I think it's something we need to learn about and really get engaged with. And so I just thought that was just kind of an interesting.
That's interesting because I had a conversation with your wife about it last week.
Yes. So we've had some conversations about it and that type of thing. Yes, Dr. Harris, we do need to understand it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a few weeks, probably. So just kind of give you guys an idea what's coming up. The first show in January, we're gonna have a lady named Dr. Inga, and she's going to come on in and she's going to be talking about financing your business, some alternative finance opportunities that might be out there, because oftentimes we don't qualify for the traditional loan stuff. So
Mhm.
let's talk about that. And then we're going to spend the next 3 weeks talking about, different things like the cryptocurrency. And then in February, the first in February, we'll kind of just be gearing up for the book launch. But I do want to learn, and I think it would be good for our audience to be exposed and learn as much about the cryptocurrency and blockchain and all those type of things as possible.
Right.
So that's coming. That's how we're going to start the year out.
Awesome.
So last year I invested in something new, which was
Right.
forex trading, and
Mhm.
so that has worked out tremendously well.
Oh,
So
tremendously well. Okay.
well, okay, it ain't about 20% a month,
Okay.
increase. So
Mhm.
I think that's decent.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
better than the bank. What are they
it's
giving
better
you?
than the
Like,
bank, right?
are
So
they giving you 4% now or 1.5%?
um, no, not that high in the
Not
bank.
1.5%?
Nah, a lot of them is under one, under
My
one,
credit union is doing, I think they're doing 1.5.
1.5.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. And
Yeah.
hello, Andre Brown. Good to have you. He said 0.03, right?
0.03.
I know he's another gentleman that has really, dove into some cryptocurrency. He's out in Palm Beach, California, I do believe. Not Palm Beach, Florida, but Palm Beach,
Yeah. Yeah,
California.
we need to talk, okay, once we learn about the cryptocurrencies, we need to also talk again to the young lady that did the self-directed IRAs. So
Yes,
now that we're investing, we can self-direct a portion of our retirement funding as well
into the self-directed, right?
into the self-directed.
And
Yes.
and I think not only that too, but we I think we have a responsibility to
Mhm.
not only talk about what is cryptocurrency, how does it work, and all those
Mhm.
type of things, but I think we also have a responsibility to teach people how they're going to be taxed on it.
Right.
Okay,
Because that's
and
in the
how that
new deal, right?
it's a
Mhm.
different deal. It's a different
Yep.
deal.
Yeah.
So you're not taxed on the growth. You're only
Right.
taxed when you change it
With
to fiat money into to dollars. And
right.
so there's a gentleman that's very well versed in that in our
Mhm.
investment club that I'm with in George, and I think we could have him come on and talk about that piece of it. And plus, we'll be right in the middle of tax season as well.
Right.
When we get
Yeah.
into January, February, March. So
Mhm.
more to come on that, you guys. I'm excited about learning myself and being able to share that knowledge with you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too, and to learn because I had my meeting with my CPA a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about the changes that are coming in the crypt, because she was asking me, have I invested in cryptocurrency? Because there's
Mhm.
some tax changes that are
Sure.
coming
Yeah.
for it. So that
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting. We should talk to the CPA about that next week.
Right. And the other thing is this infrastructure bill
And yeah,
that
it's
was
in the
that was
infrastructure bill.
it's in the infrastructure bill,
Mhm.
is that's part of the way they're going to pay for it
Yeah.
is by taxing these crypto transactions.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
all about the transactions.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Michelle, Kamala Harris was here. Uh,
Yes, did you have lunch with her?
I didn't have lunch with her. I wasn't hungry. No, I'm
You
just
weren't
kidding.
hungry?
I did. Hey, listen, I did go down. I was gonna try to get in to see her. I went to the wrong place, and then when I got there, yeah, it's like the doors was closed. I said, well, next time I'll know. But yeah, it was interesting that she was here talking about the infrastructure bill and some of the things that they're going to be doing here in Charlotte.
Oh, nice.
So I think there's $7.2 billion that's coming to North Carolina. And so they're going to be doing some more infrastructure in terms of the light rail and the bus and them meeting
Right.
at the same place. So if you need to take the light rail or then you need to transfer to a bus where you'll be able to do all those type of things. So when people move or visit to the city, it's going to be a more friendly city in terms of public transportation.
Nice.
So, and they're going to fix some roads.
Ooh.
I'm
Okay.
like, we don't need it. You ain't been to Michigan, right?
Have you
So
been to Detroit?
is it bad?
It's real bad.
Yeah. I know
Even
when we were there in
even
June.
Jackson, but Jackson's getting better.
So yeah, 94 is getting a little better. They are fixing some of the roads there. So
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, when I went to Muskegon, Michigan, I'm like, man, when are they gonna fix some of these roads? And the colder the environment, the more salt and stuff, of course, it eats it all up. So
Yeah.
So interesting thing. Well, one of the things I want to talk about, and I'm actually going to share a little bit of my screen. One of the things that we've done for years, and I don't know, Michelle, you may remember this way back when, coming to my office, and in the front room there was a bunch of pictures with kids and teddy bears. Do you remember that? You may not remember that. But we call it the Good Neighbor Club. We call it the Good Neighbor Club.
Yeah.
And what that really was about the gift of life. Because what happens at Christmas time, I know around here, right? You buy these toys, you buy games, and they really they love them. They're all into them. By the time New Year's rolls around, like the thrill is gone, right?
Right.
Or and we know the quality of gifts now aren't the same as they used to be, right? So gifts break and that type of thing. It's not like the Rock'em Sock'em that I had. If you had a Rock'em Sock'em, put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box. Was your favorite color the blue one or the red one, right? Listen, Michelle, my parents bought our Christmas gifts like all year.
I know.
So I was playing with my Rock Sock'em Christmas present in the summer. I'd get it out, play with it, put it back before they got home from work. so I had my Rock Sock'em out, right? So I love my Rock Sock'em, but if you have a Rock Sock'em, put it in the chat box. Let me know if you enjoyed that game.
That
But
is funny.
the games and toys just don't last.
Right.
And so what we really promoted was, buying cash value life insurance, something that would last forever, and what we call that now is we call it the $1 million baby. And really, I'm going to attempt to see if I can share some screen here. It says that it works best on a good computer. So we're going to see what we got going here. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to try it out. All right. So, Michelle, you just have to talk to me. Let me know. Now, I said share. All right. I think I do believe that.
There you go.
All right. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Chris got it in there, and this is just a little presentation that again we call My $1 Million Baby, and if you go online and you Google $1 Million Baby, you'll see all types of things out there. I call this particular one My $1 Million Baby because you can have a $1 million baby, but I need my $1 million baby, right? And the scripture says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so when we look at this and, we think about, paying for college, or we think about, buying that first property, that first home. Again, we're talking about legacy stuff, right? that we were talking about that earlier, or starting a business. Of course, Michelle, we're passionate about being a business owner. And what about that wedding, right? We both got weddings coming up, right? We got your Antonio's getting married here. I'm assuming that's public knowledge. If not, I just made it, right? So Antonio's getting married. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that ceremony and doing the vows for them and all that kind of stuff, right? And then, my son Tony is getting married this summer. So our two Tonys are getting married.
Yep.
Can't believe it. But
Can't believe it.
that they're just getting older.
Yeah.
And so we have all these things. And what we say for about the cost of a cup of coffee at Starbucks today, you can put money away that will help with those things. And so when we talk about the $1 million baby, we understand this. We understand that most people aren't saving enough for college. And college is becoming more and more expensive. That's one of those topics that we talk about. Is it a good debt or bad debt? But when we compare the 529 college savings plan to $1 million baby savings plan, or cash value life insurance, whatever type you end up getting, it eliminates exposure to the market. There's no limits on beneficiaries like with a 529. If your child doesn't use it because they get a scholarship or they have the Kalamazoo Promise or whatever might be there, right? And they don't need that money, there's only certain other people that you can leave it to. And then it has to be qualified education expenses. Yeah. And if you've ever had a child go through college, this, that a lot of those expenses are not qualified.
Most of it is unqualified.
Most of it is unqualified. Right.
Most of it is unqualified.
Here's the thing. It can reduce your financial aid. So 529 plans, depending on who owns it, it could be income to the child that they then have to report on their FAFSA as income. And so there's some limitations there, where when we're using this other program, there's no impact on financial aid. So this is an example of one cute little girl here, 2-year-old, for about $75 a month. This child at age 70 would have $1 million of tax-free money available to them.
Right.
For just $75 a month. Okay.
Tax-free.
Tax-free. No 1099, no reporting, none of that. Okay. And this is actually an example of one of my clients out of New York that wanted to max out the 529 plan at they're actually going to put like $10,000 a year in it in the state of New York. And we showed them how they could do the $1 Million Baby program instead, or at least take a portion of that. So what they were putting in was close to $500 a month. That's a significant amount. I mean, we get it. So they were doing that for the child up to age 18. And then at age 19 and the next 4 years, I'll show you on the next screen, they were pulling $40,000 out a year to actually help with education. So they put in for 18 years, they put in the $500 a month, and then they pull out the $160 tax-free, no impact on financial aid or any of that stuff. Okay. Now remember, they never put another dime in after age 18. So that's cool. $40,000 a year. That'll help with some expenses, yada yada, right?
Yeah.
The amazing thing is still no more new money going in. When this child turns age 65, they're getting $237,000 a year for the rest of their life, tax-free.
A year. Did y'all hear that?
A year.
Like, is your salary $237,000?
Right. How many of us would take $237,000, right? But part of this is again, they're putting a significant amount in. By all means, we know for some people $500 is significant. For
Yeah.
other people, it may not be.
Mhm.
But starting early, time value of money, and the fact that it's put in a vehicle that is not going to be taxed is amazing. And so that is, in a nutshell, what our $1 Million Baby program looks like. Of course, these numbers were a couple years ago. I even have a more current one right here, where this is based on $100 a month, right?
Mhm.
$100 a month, increasing that by 25 each month. And then at age 60, this child then would pull out $6,800 per month for the
Per
rest of their
month.
life. Per month.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Tax free.
Now, tax free. Tax
Mhm.
free. So my whole point in all of this is that this is something that we can do for our children now and setting them
Mhm.
up versus some of the money that some of us are going to spend more than that on Christmas presents.
True.
Some of us going to
True.
spend more. And so, and even if you just did it and then and I tell families this, that you can actually say on the child's birthday, let's all put in $100 and put it in there. So it
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to mean that you got to put it all in per month, but you could do it as birthday gift. So, if you're going to spend $50 on a birthday gift, spend 25 and then give us 25 to put in here. So
Right.
those are some of the things that we can talk about. And I just think it would be a awesome thing to do. And even Boyce was talking about just leaving a legacy. He talked
Mhm.
about planting seeds today that will grow a harvest later.
Right.
So, and I know a couple people ask about a spring-loaded next. I don't know what that means,
That's your
Andre, but
rocket sock'em.
oh, okay. I'm like spring-loaded next. I'm like, where'd that come from? I got you, Andre. All right, all right. Okay, we cool. And Alice Barnes said send a link to that plan. And you guys, if you email me at info@therealmoneycoach, I can send you what I just showed you. If you want to see how this could work for your child or grandchild, you can do that. Now, again, you do it according to your budget, right?
Right.
Because some of y'all got a whole lot of chaps, right? You got maybe you can't. I mean, you got more than one grandchild or something
Right.
like that, and you want to do some other things. But the point is that we start to think of it from a mindset standpoint
Mhm.
of, let's stop making Amazon rich. Let's stop making wherever we buy online or Walmart or wherever we go, and start thinking about assets.
Yes.
Start thinking about investing in assets. And that's the whole point I wanted to make here. And I think it would be great. And I'm declaring next year, when we do this, we're going to have a Real Money Coach teddy bear for everybody who orders one of these. We'll give you a teddy bear, because if you want something to give the child, we're gonna have a teddy bear.
Mhm.
So someone's gonna design us a teddy bear and make it. I'm looking for somebody who likes to make teddy bears, right? So we'll do something so that there is something to wrap up and put under the tree, because that's what we used
Mhm.
to do back in the days. We had this big
Right.
teddy bear. We take a picture with the teddy
Yeah,
bear.
I remember that.
We hung it on the wall and all
Yeah.
those type of things. So now we're in this virtual environment. We'll figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
But just be thinking about those types of things. And like I said, if you go to info@therealmoneycoach, email me. I'll send you some information. If you want to actually schedule appointment, you can schedule appointment. We can talk about it. I can give you some examples, for your grandkids. We can do as low as $25 a month on up,
Mhm.
but I just think that would be a great way to just spend a little money, in a great way for Christmas. Now, the child is not going to know anything.
No.
They're not going to realize it. The 2-year-old is not, they're not going to know that. First of
Mhm.
all, they're not going to miss the president, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to really understand that. But when they become 50 and they sitting on
Yeah.
$500,000, that Mima or Granny or Nana, whoever got them,
Right.
that's gonna be legacy.
That is
It's gonna be
legacy.
legacy.
Yeah.
So, and then there's some things that you get. There's many of us that understand that we also lock in our health when we do it when they're young.
Mm-hmm.
We lock those things in because
Yeah.
none of us are getting older, and so if we could lock those things in when we didn't know these things when we were young.
No, I wish we would have known,
Yeah.
but
And I don't blame anyone for that because our parents didn't know,
mm-hmm.
and you can't teach what you don't know.
Right.
You
But
can't
this is
teach what
why
you don't know.
we're here. So that now you know. So now you can do differently.
Now you can do differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was on my heart to kind of share. Again, if you want to, you can always go to YouTube, rewatch this if you want to watch it. You can tune in to iHeartRadio on Friday at 5 p.m. So if you have the iHeartRadio app, search for WDRB Media at 5 o'clock. You will get the rest of the Boyce Watkins interview. I showed part of it last week. You're going to get the rest of it. I'm going to talk about this $1 Million Baby program as well. But you guys got a chance to see it, with the screen and all that. So that's, a visual. But if you want to re-listen to it, please tune in to the show and just let me know what you think. So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, Michelle, it looks like we did another show.
I know,
We did
right?
another show. Time goes by fast.
It
Time
does.
goes by fast. So Ruth Bell said, listen, I could work with that. She said, she said she could work. I think she's talking about that 237,000 a year.
$1,000, right?
I could work with that too, Miss Ruth Bell. Let's figure it out. Let's
Yeah.
go. And so I'm really excited about where we're going. I'm excited about the whole series on crypto.
Yeah.
And then, we'll do more things like that. And I think one of the differences that we're going to make next year is, we may spend more weeks on one topic rather than just hitting it. And then the next week we go to something else. We may take it and say, okay, for this month, we're going to spend this on crypto. And then, February, we're going to talk about book publishing and how you can publish your own book, right?
Right.
And then in March, we may focus on taxes. And then in April, we may focus on something else so that we have these series so that we kind of embed more and more. And then also we're thinking about doing some more exclusive stuff where you can actually not just hear our guests, but actually get a chance to interact with them off camera. So all those things we're working on as we look at enhancing, revamping, re-energizing the Real Money Coach. So if anybody has anything in the chat you want to mention or ask, feel free to do that.
What do you guys want to know about? Like,
yes.
because Tony and I, we have a wealth of knowledge, but if it's going over your heads, we need to know that.
Well, and if we're not hitting topics that you need and want, we need to know that too.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, I'm seeing crypto as a big one. Again, in March, I know taxes are there. And then there's other things, wills, trust, all those type of things that we can begin to really drill down on and have a series of experts. If you like the idea of like having 1 month that we're dealing with one topic and having various experts come in and talk about those things, let us know if you like that. If you like that thought, or if you like us to do one topic and then the next week do something else, tell us which way you like it. Send us an email, text, put it in the chat box, say 1 month or 1 week. Tell us what you think. And thank you, Ruth Bell. We appreciate your kind
thank
words.
you, Ruth Bell.
You always send such kind text messages and all that kind of stuff. So you are an encourager. You are an encourager, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and if you guys, you know what, when I talk to my clients, like, I give them assignments. They have homework.
So you
Y'all
can
can't
start
just
getting some
sit
homework.
here like listening to me. I don't know if it's actually getting in, but when I give you an assignment and you come back and you can explain it, how it's working in your life, then I know I've made an impact.
Well, and if we actually change some of our format where we can
Yeah.
have that engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're talking about maybe, having the open forum like we're doing now for the first half of the show, but then having that engagement piece for the second half, that will allow some of that to happen. So you guys have to
Yeah.
tell us what you think about some of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No matter what I do, I want to make an impact on somebody's life in a
absolutely.
positive way. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm making an impact, but y'all be showing up every week. So, I guess.
Listen, if they keep coming back, then we must be doing something right, right?
Yeah.
So if I turn this on, there's no Alice Martin, there's no Ruth Bell, there's
Right.
no Kimberly, there's no Chad,
Right.
there's no Benita Harris. I'm
Yeah.
like, uh-oh, something that went wrong.
Right.
Something went wrong, right? So as long as you guys keep showing up, we know that you're enjoying it, and just engage with us, and
Yeah.
then we'll do more things in the Facebook group. So I do want to remind people to make sure you go to the Real Money Coach community, join that Facebook group. It's growing. There's a couple new people every week that are joining that Facebook group, and we're going to be doing more things there, posting more articles, more information. And again, if we have a theme that we're doing for a month, we could post things on social media inside that Facebook group that enhance what we're learning that particular month.
Right. Yeah.
So, but if we do that, I mean, that means that we have about 12 topics that we can cover in a year. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot, actually. I mean, especially if we're going to do a deeper dive
Mm-hmm.
than we have been doing. So,
Wills and trusts. Good.
Wills and
Yeah.
Trust,
Mm-hmm.
financial protection for seniors. I like that.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. I like that too.
So, and then Timothy Day did send me the article that talks about the bill.
Okay.
And so, what I will do, you guys, I will take this article that he sent, and it says, in honor of Veterans Day, the GI Bill Restoration Act was
Okay.
introduced by Jim Claiborne.
Yeah, he's a co-sponsor on the bill. Yeah.
So it's interesting. We were in a meeting today, and we were actually talking about Jim because we were, at his office. I was at his office with Michael Roberts. I don't know, back in September or something like that. It could have even been July now, but he really is a great advocate for
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah.
So out of South Carolina. And so the so he sent the article from CNN. I will post that inside of the Real Money Coach Facebook group, and so you guys can get a chance to read it. I'm just kind of flicking through it, seeing if there is so here's Claiborne thing. He says, while the original GI Bill ushered in decades of prosperity for post-war Americans, access to this prosperity was limited for Black World War II vets who were denied full access to these benefits by mostly white state and local veteran administrations. And then it goes on to say some other things here. So I think it would be an interesting read. Thank you, Timothy, for sending that on. And we will post it in there for anybody who wants to see that article.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Michelle, thank you again
You're
for
welcome.
being here. I mean, it's always fun.
It is always.
God always brings it together. We end up having a great conversation. So we're starting to make this little habit. So we kind
I
of
know,
enjoy this
right?
a little bit. So, all right, everyone, be safe, be careful. Enjoy the rest of your week. Tune in on Friday. And by the way, I will be a couple things that I'll be in Greenville at the Flex Greenville conference. I will be speaking at that conference on Saturday. I think it's from 10 to 2. I'll post that on social media as well. And then on next Monday, I will be with Mr. Joe Dudley in their mastermind, the Dudley organization, talking about the importance of having a financial checkup. That will be Monday at 11 a.m. And then, of course, I'll be right back here Tuesday at 8 p.m. with you all. Thank you. Have a great evening. God bless.